It's time to wake up, Woodward. The most listened to Detroit sports morning show is about to start. Start your day with a warm cup of Flannel Sam. Or how about a full cup of Detroit Kool-Aid?
Oh, yeah.
Mix in a little JB, and you got yourself the breakfast of champions. Live guests, fan reactions, and updates for your favorite teams. Wake Up Woodward is live now on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
What a night for Detroit sports. What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of the WUW Crew production. So go on ahead, smash that like button. We got a lot to talk about today, man. A lot to talk about. It's your boy Brandon there, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network. All sports knower and lover. What up, though, people? Well, what up, though, Flannel? And tell the people what's on the menu.
I don't know how to feel today.
Yeah, it's
very
like, is incomplete the correct word?
Yes.
Yeah.
Incomplete, but I'm seeing names just fly off the board. Just bye.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that.
Bye.
I don't like that at all.
And I'm not trying to be negative or anything. There's a lot of positive things to get into, but basically today we're gonna spend the entire show talking about what's been going on vis-a-vis the Pistons free agency and the Red Wings free agency.
I looked at this, I was like, it's the LCA bros.
Yes, the LCA bros. And if we have time, we will get to your phone calls because I'm sure you guys have a lot to say as well. But this is a Pistons and Red Wings heavy show with everything that's going on in the NBA and NHL. My head is absolutely spinning, but you know what? That's what's the beauty of this time of the year because stuff could break right now.
It literally could. And
did it break? No, I'm kidding.
Are you sure? Hey,
I'm just
intern
being
Ryan, nothing broke, right?
Nothing broke.
Okay. And I even saw some of the group chats out there. Shout out to Pistons Twitter, still going and kicking strong. And some people in there were like, yo, we woke up wondering, like, the deal got to be done, right? Like, how complex is this deal? And what I mean is the Pistons are rumored to be in so much more. So aside from, I know some people heard about Caris LeVert being signed yesterday, and we're going to get even more into that today. For 2 years, $29 million, but they're also being rumored for Malik Monk, which I know you told people later, but some people thought that this thing would be already consummated by the morning.
Yeah, and that's why I'm almost weary of giving too much of a Malik Monk breakdown because I do think he's somebody who's intriguing to the Detroit Pistons. I think if you've seen what he's done his last few years in Sacramento, you'd actually be surprised at how much he's evolved as an all-around basketball player. Yeah. Definitely intriguing, but nothing is official yet.
Bro, how weird is it that his name has come up on the show so much as it related to, like, value from Malik Beasley?
Yeah.
When we were talking about, well, what is it going to take to bring him back? And we kept going back to Malik Monk as the comp. Now we're in a position where that might be the individual because he was sitting at that $20 million a year. So to know that we were going to be able to get Beasley for $14 million a year is just like, and have his bird rights, which meant we could have brought in someone else, like another person. Where do you see the ripple effect right now, early on, of the Beasley situation affecting the Pistons? That's why you see Paul Reed get what he got.
Yeah,
the Pistons could have brought someone else in and probably gone over the cap after that to bring back a Beasley.
And I'll be honest, I'm going to take the wait and see approach, but as you see a lot of names fly off the board, which I will give you those names very, very soon, I might have to give myself a mea culpa and be like, you know what? Maybe I should have been a little bit careful. It's a be careful for what you wish for thing, because when the whole Malik Beasley gambling stuff came out, I was more or less like good riddance, but I also was like good riddance, but replace him, please. And so far, they haven't done it with a type of player who can shoot the three ball like Malik Beasley can. There's still guys out there, don't get me wrong, but there's also some guys that are not out there.
Yeah, and that's why when you talk about the Caris LeVert signing, that's one that I do believe is one that's more or less insurance against the fact that you're starting free agency. We knew that they had some interest in Caris LeVert because we've talked about them on previous shows. We covered it from some of the Hoops Hype rumors as well. And so to see them go and do that, I thought this was one of those hybrid things. He can play make, he can shoot, not at the clip that Beasley does, but when you look at the production Schroeder gave you, can Caris LeVert fill that role? at a more athletic in a more athletic more athleticism to the position as well as outside shooting. And I do believe he presents that, but this is also in mind. I keep this at the forefront of it. This is the pivot. This isn't necessarily like, all right, we're going into free agency. This is our plan. We know that we're not going to be with Malik Beasley. So I continue to try and judge these things or critique these things in the light of, okay, this is them at the tail end of it. Everybody else has got an opportunity to go out and, talk to different free agents, talk to other teams, try and facilitate deals. So to be able to pivot and understand, okay, they got Caris LeVert on something similar to what they had Schroeder with. I like it with what some of the other rumored deals are supposed to be.
Well, and here's the thing about the Malik Monk. I mean, not Malik Monk. Caris LeVert. I'm getting them mixed up now. Obviously, they shouldn't get mixed up.
You know what we want to talk about.
Yeah, right. The Caris LeVert signing. And we can just get right into it. Yeah. On surface, when I heard about it, I was a little, I don't know.
On the surface,
because when I was thinking of, go ahead.
No. Remember we talked about this, that he was somebody, Michigan man for Michigan man that could potentially replace THJ on his roster.
Yeah, and my first thought was, I'm not so sure how I feel about that, because when I'm thinking about priorities for the Pistons, especially with probably not re-signing Malik Beasley because he's under investigation, I thought movement shooter, stretch big, or maybe even the pipe dream of a star. However, Caris LeVert is none of those players. But when you dig deep into him, I see some things that I actually like. Yeah. First off, let's just go to Caris LeVert averages, if you have that one, JB, because he's been a damn good player in this league for a very, very long time. A good player. These are his numbers throughout his career. He gives 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. These are his averages on 44, 35, 74 shooting splits. He's played 520 games. He started a little less than half of them, and he plays about 28 minutes per game. Last year, his usage was lesser than at some of his previous seasons, especially with Brooklyn. He averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 47, 37, 71 shooting splits. I like the higher efficiency in the field goal and three-point percentage. 64 games, 3 starts, 25 minutes per game. When I look at Caris LeVert on surface, I look at somebody who could potentially lead the bench unit, be the point guard of the bench unit, because he is a good on-ball player. He is a good on-ball scorer. He can pass. He can rebound. He's got really good size for a guard. But when you look into him, he actually, I think, has some upside as a movement shooter as well, although he's not going to get near the usage that somebody like Malik Beasley did and make him at as high of a clip. So if you've got the one, JB Smooth, Caris LeVert catch and shoot threes.
Yep.
So these are over his last few seasons. Last season, he was 36% on catch and shoot threes on 3 attempts per game. The year before that, in 24, he was 37% on 3 attempts per game, and this is catch and shoot threes. 23, he was 39% on 3 attempts per game on catch and shoot threes, and in 22, he was 41% on 2 attempts per game on catch and shoot threes. This tells me that Caris LeVert, he has the ability to either be the point guard of the bench unit, but also get some minutes with Cade and make some catch and shoot threes. Not at a high volume, not at a super high percentage, but I mean, if he could ever get to 39, 41%, 3 attempts on catch and shoot per game, that's really good.
Yep.
Like more needs to be done for the Detroit Pistons in this offseason, but Caris LeVert, when you look into him a little bit more, I'm liking it more than I did on surface. I'm not going to lie.
No, I definitely like it. You see that it doesn't take a large usage to get this production from a guy like Caris LeVert. And what I love is his ability to operate and facilitate on his own, off the wing, from the top of the key, or even catching the ball off of the cut. I like everything about this deal because, again, we're talking about a pivot. If you could go and re-sign Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder in perfect world and then put all your focus on bringing in a 4, now they have to put their focuses in on bolstering the shooting on the squad and running it back with the bigs that we have. Like, I'm still going to reserve judgment because I know that there's other things in the works. And I've heard some other player names in there, as it relates to what they could potentially get in a deal from the Sacramento Kings. I don't know quite if people would like some of the names or a return of one particular big man. But honestly, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm looking at a team right now, whereas with what some of these deals are telling me is that Trajan Langdon is like, Cade is on his second deal. My man's getting $40 million a year right now. He's the vet. He's the voice. He's the leader. Stu, he is your enforcer. He is your heartbeat. Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, what you gonna be about? I remember when you guys made the Rising Stars, Duren once a long time ago. What are you guys gonna be? This to me says that he's throwing out a gauntlet. You got one season, and then people have to make decisions on contracts. And so I do feel like this is one of those things, as currently sitting, knowing the names that are flying off the boards, I believe that this is a bet on this core. No longer can we say on this young core, because you got people stepping into their second contracts. You know, you're seeing people in their draft classes and around them stepping into their second contracts, and that's what I think these moves speak to. How long have we talked about the potential of these young guys, and seeing how we talk about some of these other squads that are on the up and up, but they're led by those same guys that were drafted in their same draft classes. It is time for these guys to step into that light and then be able to be plug and playable, because who's going to be here? We see what Brad's doing. He locked down the guys who's going to be here, and everybody else is plug and playable, even if we have to go get somebody who's not as popular as what other people want. Why? Because we know that Amon-Ra is going to show out. We know what Panay is going to do. We know who Jared Goff is. But that's the thing. Cade, we know what he's going to do. Those other guys got to start taking that step towards, I believe they have all-star potential in them in Asar and Jalen Duren. I'm hoping Ivy's included in that, but we all understand what the possibilities might be. So to me, these moves are saying, all right, we're going to get some parts and pieces to put around you guys. You guys are the consistency young guys. You guys are the ones that got to go out there and lead this thing defensively, lead this thing with your voice, and lead this thing by example on and off the court.
And that's what's both intriguing but also frustrating, because I might as well just do it right now to get the pain out of the way. There are players that we wanted, a lot of us wanted, some of us really wanted, some of us did not, that are basically flying off the board. Do you have the no longer available one, JB?
Yep, unfortunately I do.
And when you look at it, it's actually pretty depressing. I got a long list. Santi Aldama.
That one hurt my soul.
And in parentheses, re-signed with the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson, Grizzlies.
That hurt my soul.
Naz Reid, Wolves. Bobby Portis, Bucks. Luke Kennard, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the Hawks. Dorian Finney-Smith, Rockets. Gary Trent Jr., Bucks. And by the way, how the F does Gary Trent Jr. keep getting re-signed for peanuts? He was 2 years at $7 million. I don't understand why he would even take that. I don't get it. He's a good player.
I have no commentary to offer.
No commentary. And then
I don't get it.
And then Ty Jerome, and I'll be honest, Ty Jerome is a name that I probably should have highlighted more yesterday because he was so good for Cleveland. He's now with the Grizzlies. And hey, maybe the Grizzlies are actually trying to do something in the West.
I knew Ty Jerome was a come here. He was talking greasy about JB Bickerstaff. And with the way that man's ready to fight coaches who make mistakes, I know he's ready to probably score over Ty Jerome. Like, he put that on my name? No, let me stop playing. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff and Ty Jerome, who would have absolutely helped this team. He's a hell of a coach, to the point that I know he will put effectively what this team could have if he was here above everything else. And you know what, man, when you look at this list, we see some teams up there, and the Bucks and the Hawks, that we were wondering, dysfunction. Where are these teams going to be going into next year? And I thought that they helped themselves tremendously. Mitten May says, feels like we've been lapped by a lot of the East, and that's where we still hold and reserve thought.
Yeah,
full complete assessment, and because we don't know what else is going to happen here. They do need more. I will say that, but I do believe this is why they're putting the onus. This is showing. This is the onus on the young guys. They're going to have to step up. They're going to have to be your major players. These are going to be your starters. They have to be the ones that are going out there and carrying the brunt. And then the bench players come in and play specific little roles here and there. So if you're putting the right shooters, you're putting some hustle guys, you're putting some guys who know how to ISO, now you're giving yourself a versatile lineup that you can plug and play here and there. If somebody needs a rest one night, if somebody gets into foul trouble, or if you just like a particular or a specific matchup. And then when I look here at the Hawks, man, I can't wait to talk to Rod tomorrow. Because the Hawks, Hey, they did their thing, man. You look at Luke Kennard and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and they said that Trae Young personally recruited those guys. You know, so we're looking at the Hawks, one of those dysfunctional teams who I do believe helped themselves a lot. Think about this. They had nobody that could guard Cade Cunningham. Dyson Daniels.
He's a good defender, but he is.
Yeah. But I do believe when you talk about Nall and you're talking about getting the most out of Daniels, because this is where I'm going, I don't think it's advantageous for Daniels to defend Cade, even though he is a good defender.
Sure.
When you do a move like this, you know what it does? When you talk about building like OKC, what did OKC do? You don't see Shea going out there and trying to defend Cade. No. It's Lou Dort. And that's where I like this type of move for the Hawks. And I'm hoping that as the Pistons continue to build this offseason, that they do take some measures and some steps to continue to put this around Cade Cunningham.
Well, and that's where – all right, so I'm going to say something that might make a lot of people upset on surface, but listen to what I have to say and let me finish. I think as we stand today,
as
it
you're
is –
blowing in the sun off Woodward.
Yes. On July 1st, 8:17 Eastern Standard Time, I think the Hawks are better than the Pistons. Right now, I do. I think their offseason so far, they traded for Porzingis, they acquired Kennard, they acquired Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson presumably is coming back from injury. They have Dyson Daniels, obviously Trae Young. He's a good player.
I agree.
I don't like his inefficiencies, and I think he's small, but he was the NBA leader in assists last year, and I think he's got even more toys to play with and pass the ball to. I think right now the Hawks are better than the Pistons. However, it's not, the offseason is far from over.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree in a lot of sentiments, and that's where if Cade Cunningham goes Super Saiyan in this next season, if Jaden Ivey is on this team and continues the ascent that he's on, if Asard Thompson adds onto his game with the first full offseason, these are things I do believe that they have the recipe as is to take a leap forward. Where I have concern is that front court. I don't know, like they did out-rebound teams, but when you got to the playoffs, when you lost Stu, you saw a huge dip. Even though I do like B-ball, Paul, I like the work ethic, I like how he's cut, sometimes you need the measurables. And that's where you hear them talk about, hey, we want the 7-footer. Well, in a perfect world where you know we can go and load up and get fat on free agents and then go even more over the cap, we can go back to the buffet one more time, two more times, and re-sign Schroeder and Beasley. They just can't do that anymore. That's the whole point. Like, so now all of a sudden, this infatuation that they once had at being able to get the 7-footer, that's out the window. Like, unless they, like, I'm still holding hope, because where they do have one possibility is where they can potentially offload a Simone Fontecchio contract. I know that rumors are stating that, you know, he's on the block. They want to be able to release his money so that they can have another opportunity to be able to go and try and get some more help in that front court. Because that's where I believe that they are significantly thin. I don't even care if it's a floor, stretching big man. I just think you need somebody who is 6'10", 6'11". I don't even need this guy to have to go out there and play 30 minutes. I need this person to go out there and give you the other 15 or 20 minutes that Stu can't give you, because you have to watch his minutes. You saw what 20 minutes a game or less did for him last year for Stu, and that's where, I'm not saying that this guy's the end-all, be-all, but a few years ago, I know Jeff and I were doing the pod, and we wanted Thomas Bryant. And you know who signed him? Miami Heat. And we were just like, that's just such a Miami Heat type of thing to do. And what did he do in the first game against the Pistons? Got into an entanglement with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren.
Entanglement.
Like, you're crazy. I want that. I really want that. That type of, that like I don't know if he's that today, but a little bit of the crazy that we wanted out of Bobby Portis. I feel like if you can get a player that actually has some of the measurables, I'm not saying Thomas Bryant is that today, I say, man, go on ahead and do that. And I know some people, they want Bol. I don't quite think measurable-wise he's that guy in the paint that I'm talking about. But I also don't mind taking flyers on guys like him or Mo Wagner as free agency continues on.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually have a list, and it's a little depressing, but you mentioned a couple of players that are on this.
Hey,
and these are the available free agents, and I didn't even mention Thomas Bryant.
Wait. Let's take a quick one. And
All
we'll
right.
come back and talk about
All
this.
right. We'll come back and talk about
I
it.
like this. I like this. Because I'm looking at. We got to be on. We got to be on behavior today because my man JB Smooth.
Oh yeah, we will.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what's trending? What's going on with what's trending? You sponsored. What's going on?
I have no idea what you're talking about over here.
All right.
What?
Stay to the end of the show, y'all. Stay to the end of the show. And you know what? If you need lunch, you guys already know where to go. That's Buddy's Pizza. They've been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946. And 79 years later, they have 22 locations in this great state of pure Michigan, and fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. And sign up for Buddy's Rewards to earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. So make sure you go download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning those points today. Add some Detroit style to your next meal and save 10% off your entire order using promo code 10MIL. That is the number 10MEAL, Buddy'sPizza.com.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Second Best Bar in Detroit for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw, Easttown, and Ven Johnson.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness, and they're offering the high school summer pass where teens ages 14 through 19 can work out for free all summer from June 1st to August 31st, while things like physical education and some of their sports are out of season. Some sports, not all, because I remember those summer football days. Those guys are getting plenty of exercise as it is, but those who aren't, this is a great program, and for everybody else, keep on getting your membership to Planet Fitness because it is the best gym around. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Essential.
You doing the Ivory speech there, Sam? Like, they went through 2 days, you went through 2 days, and 110-degree heat.
Yeah, that's... Yes, sir, yeah.
JB, I also sent the my list, my top 10 free agents.
Oh, yeah, we should...
They
A lot of them are
just
gone,
got
Kool-Aid.
skewed.
Yeah, a lot of them are
That's
gone.
what- That's what I was sending it for. Just to piggyback on the point that he was making before we see the notable free agents. If you could throw that list up, too.
Please throw that list up.
We thought, like, we had a feeling, and so Travis, shout out to Travis, he cooked up the graphic for me, and he put Caris LeVert on there, and I wound up being the first signing. But there's so many names. I wanted it to be Dennis Schroeder, and if you're gonna go into a sign and trade with the Sacramento Kings, this is another reason why I wanted Dennis Schroeder to be number one, because that player is gonna have to play an integral role. But then you look at all of the other players, man. You got Naw, you got Santel Dama, Duncan Robinson, Gary Trent Jr., even Brook Lopez to the Clippers. I think the Clippers they have a sneaky good offseason. I really do. Caris LeVert was number 7 on the big board. Bruce Brown Jr., Bol, and Luke Kennard, who we know went to the Hawks, and I do believe that was a sneaky good deal for them. I really do.
Who's available? It looks like just Duncan Robinson and Bol.
Yeah.
Out of this list, because Bruce Brown signed, how the F does Gary Trent sign for 2 years at like a $3.5 million? You're better than that.
Every time you see his
Don't
name,
know.
it's going to be like that.
I know last year was like 1 year, 2.5. Bro, you obviously don't care how much you make, but no.
You're like the guy.
Money laundering.
You're like the guy going up to the girl, the shitty boyfriend. Like, I treat you so much better, baby. Like,
Yeah, we're the Pistons. We'd pay you more. We dude, 3.5 million. We'll give you 2 at 10. No, but so on this list, and as I talked about before, so many names are just flying out the window. Like it looks like Dennis Schroeder's not going to be here. He's going to be with the Kings. Hopefully, it's in a sign-in trade. NAW, Hawks, Sandy Aldama back with the Grizzlies. Gary Trent Jr. back with the Bucks. Brook Lopez, as Kool-Aid said, with the Clippers. Bruce Brown. I'm not sure where he went, but he went somewhere. And Luke Kennard with the Hawks. We did get Caris LeVert. You're on number 7.
Yep.
Duncan Robinson is still available, and we know the type of player that he can be as a movement shooter, and I've mentioned before that 2023 playoff run with a 44% from 3.
Yep.
Love that.
And just so you know, the way that the list was originally put, it was a top 5 free agent list, and I gave him another 5. And what it was I said that I believe the Pistons needed to be able to get at least 2 people from the first 5 and 1 person from the second 5. And so I thought Brook Lopez could be somebody that can come here and give you a little bit of that size. But if not, Caris LeVert was the one that we thought was going to be definitely on this team. But I didn't think he would be the first one off the board for the Pistons. I did believe he would be somebody that would contribute to this offseason, hopefully haul at some point in time. But obviously the big domino that we're waiting to fall is still ahead of us. And we hear the rumors about Schroeder from Malik Monk. Who's somebody I do believe can come here and play a very, very good role, give you a little bit things different than what Beasley did, give you some three-point shooting, but it's not going to give you the volume or the pace at which Beasley shot. But if you're talking about the pivot and you're talking about still bringing in NBA rotation level players who are going to give you average to good, I do like what Trajan Langdon is doing, and you know that's with the rumors in mind as well. But what else do you believe needs to happen?
So go ahead, Chase.
well, I just had a question for Kool-Aid. Do you think there's a chance possibly that they could maybe get like Monk and Sabonis? Because they're both on the Kings.
Thought about that. Stop.
Stop. We've talked about Sabonis too, and they're both.
I know. I don't even want to think
So
about it.
I was going to ask you, like, if you could have one or the other.
Broke.
Is there some way somehow Trajan could
Do it.
swing it for both?
Look, man. Look.
For both?
Look, bro. If you can do both, then yeah. I don't know what Sacramento's trying to do.
But I mean, like, I guess
That's the crazy part.
I just thought of Sabonis too, because we're also talking about like someone on the Kings. It's like if we could have one or the other.
And they're trying to move him too.
Yeah, and we were
I
talking,
didn't even include him in nothing because I know they're trying to move him, but it just didn't seem likely.
Well, we were talking about Sabonis before the Malik Beasley situation came up, and now it seems like we're trying to fill that hole, but there's still this other need that we were trying to address before. So it's like which one's more important? Because the Kings could possibly help us facilitate either or, if not both.
This could get. You know what?
Who else would have to be included? Dennis Schroeder for both, straight up.
You know who it, would be. You know who it would be.
Who would it be?
I don't even want it to be that player, but I think it'd be one Jedi.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Do you like would the command? Would they demand a Sar or Jalen Duran? Because you know Trajan, I don't believe would do that. I don't know. That would be an interesting one. You know, for the hypothetical of it, that would, because you're right. We know that they've been rumored to be trying to move Sabonis, and there are some other players there that I've heard rumored could be part of something like this. But if you could go out there and get a Sabonis, you at least talk about it. Like, I would throw them all of my first round picks. I'll throw them the 4.
Well,
I don't care.
If we're talking sign and trade with Dennis Schroeder, I don't think, if we could be Sabonis instead of Malik Monk, I'm not going to be upset about that. I mean, I think there's 2 names that, like, we could theoretically get in a sign and trade if something works out with Sacramento that we could be happy with.
Yeah, and I saw some people, I've heard, like, Keegan Murray, and I see you in the chat, Weezy D313, he says he likes Keegan Murray.
I mean, he's a shooter. I know his percentages have dipped.
He's a young
bit.
Tobias Harris.
I mean, I don't. he's good. Like, I don't hate Keegan Murray. It's just, to me, that doesn't quite move the needle like a Malik Monk would. I don't think he's as good of an all-around player. But, hey.
Golly, that's a good question.
He's a good
Chase.
player, though.
That's a really good observation.
Should talk about it with Rod tomorrow.
We will, because we separated it. I almost think about Sabonis in his own category, and I was thinking about the Kings over here with Malik Monk and like the rest of the
they're all
roster,
in the same cast,
and they're all on the same. I'm like, yo, he's exactly right.
They're all in the same cast.
This is going to be interesting, and you know what? You're going to need someone like a Blackstone to even have the cat mind to pull something like that off. This is going to be intriguing because when Dennis Schroeder said, you know, I want to be in Detroit, but Detroit ain't waiting on me. It was like he knew stuff was going on already, and all of a sudden the rumors are coming out of what the Pistons are involved in, including already going out and signing a Caris LeVert, who we know can play the role to some degree that Schroeder did. Are there differences in their games? Yes, but I do like the 6'6" frame, the athleticism, the ISO ability of Caris LeVert.
Yeah, no.
If he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's unfortunately had injury issues even back at Michigan, but he's played a lot of games. I think he played low 60s last year, which isn't bad. That's not bad at all. And like I said, when I dove into it, I was happier than when I first heard about the signing. However, I'm still very far from satisfied this offseason. If you tell me that they lose Schroeder, they lose Beasley, and but darn it, you re-sign Paul Reed and Caris LeVert. More is coming. Has to.
Yeah, definitely.
And easy. When I liked Keegan, no one liked Keegan. SMH. Go back to those days when I was asked about Keegan Murray. I was a big fan of his as well. And I'll tell you what, his rookie season with the Kings, when it looked like they were going to be a team that was growing into a playoff contender, they were all light the beam and whatnot. Keegan Murray was a demon. He probably had his best season as a rookie. And I understand Keegan Murray, he offers you, and one thing that I want to mention before we move off of that, which would be malfeasance if I didn't, is that Keegan Murray and Malik Monk are very different players. Keegan Murray's bigger. He's 6'8". He's more of a stretch 4. He can rebound. Malik Monk has kind of turned into – Malik Monk has had an interesting evolution in his career because early on with Charlotte, I didn't like him. I thought he was a guy who thought he could shoot but really wasn't that effective. Midway through his career, he became a very effective catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, and you saw his percentages skyrocket. Yep. And then when he went to the Kings, he's become – would it shock you? It shocked me. Malik Monk has averaged 5 assists per game both of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean he's a
really
player
developed.
That before he re-upped with Sacramento Kings, that was one of the guys that Rod and I were like, hey, we do believe that the Pistons should look at Malik Monk. Then we saw the money again. We were like, whoa, Pistons were never going to do that.
Ew.
Man, there's things I could tell you because there was at some point in time definitely some interest. And I'm going to talk to some people and see if we can talk about it one day. Yeah. Because at one point in time there was interest and there was a deal set up a long time ago, let's say about 3 years ago, and it just never came to fruition. But I do believe that Trajan, I like the fact that he is working on stuff. I like the fact that all this noise is coming out. I like the fact that we already have the framework of the deal set up because we know that Sacramento likes Schroeder. And it was interesting because I know that they can just go to him and just straight up sign him. But if they sign him, I am wondering, does that allow the Pistons, if they want to just say he's not a restricted free agent, but they have his birds rights. So I know that they can pay him a percentage, I believe, above whatever they offer and bring him back above the cap once they set things in. But it works and bodes best for both parties to just go ahead and do the sign and trade. And that's where, if you're Trajan Langdon, I hope he is sitting back, taking the Cavassier Chase approach and just like, all right, this is the list they sent me. Okay, I see that. But that's not their whole roster, though. I know you got Sabonis on the roster. At least, I hope he's at least kicking the tires on what would it take. Even if it's not a part of the master plan, even if it's not a part of effectively the base that you want to get out of this deal, I am hoping that he's at least kicking the tires on players like Sabonis, Keegan Murray, a name that a lot of people might like a lot less, Trey Lyles, but I see you over there in turn, Ryan. But you know what? These are things you got to make sure that you're doing. If it's just a 1-for-1, I think that, you know what? You breathe and you say, can't wait to see what this is. But if you can find a way to get a couple more players out this thing, I think you go ahead and do it. And you got your draft picks to play with.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to tell me that later on this afternoon, I'm sure it'll break so that the other shows can get it, but I just want it to break first off, just selfishly. I'd like for it to happen right now, but that's neither here nor there. If you were to tell me later on today, and obviously the Chase Sabonis thing would have me probably on the floor for good reasons, but if I were told that there was a sign and trade, Malik Monk was here, I would feel better about this offseason.
Oh yeah.
The one thing though that I think people don't talk about enough is that what Caris LeVert has always been and what Malik Monk is now, they're more similar than you think. You think Malik Monk and you think more of a catch and shoot guy, a guy who can bury threes. We saw obviously his most famous run was he had a couple of games in the playoffs during the Light the Beam Sacramento years, but both of them are guys that could potentially lead the bench unit, but both of those guys are guys that can also play off Cade. So the diversity of the skill sets, I don't think any of them will be that catch-and-shoot demon that Malik Beasley was, but they're also better all-around basketball players. Will that bode better for this team than having a Malik Beasley? Time will tell, but they're certainly both more diverse.
Yeah, definitely. Excuse me. As I'm sitting here looking at Hoops Hype as well, it's interesting because via Jake Fisher, they're saying that capologists all around the league have already penciled in Dennis Schroeder's $28 million over 2 years into the Kings' salary cap. So it's people already believing that this is a done, that the Pistons and the Kings will transact. It's just a matter of for what. And obviously, we believe that the base of the deal will be Schroeder for Malik Monk. But that's where if this thing is going on this long now, it's not consummated yet. That's where I wonder, what exactly is Trajan Langdon cooking up? Is this his Brad Holmesian moment right now?
Sure. With what's available, it's hard for me to see a Brad Holmesian moment.
The Kings got a lot available.
And that's the thing. There's obviously like trades available because here, let me just put this up because we teased it. I know you guys saw it for like just a split second.
That's what
it's not the sexiest list by any stretch of the imagination, but right now, just a few names who are available. Miles Turner is still available. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he's still available. Duncan Robinson, somebody who is high up on your list and somebody who I've been not necessarily clamoring for, but I like what he could bring to this team. Chris Boucher from the Toronto Raptors, a little bit of a stretch. Mo Wagner coming off of an ACL.
We handshake on that one.
We do on that one. Seth Curry, again, not the he's old. I don't blame you for that.
Not the best Curry.
Not even close. He's worse than Dell. But Dell was a pretty good NBA player, too.
I like Indian Curry, too.
Indian Curry better than Seth Curry. No, but Seth Curry has value, and he's been a good catch-and-shoot player in this league. Bol, you mentioned before. Yeah. He's on your list. And also, a name that I didn't mention, Thomas Robinson. No, Thomas Bryant.
Yeah.
Thomas Bryant, yeah.
I kind of just go get another Stu out there. He got that Stu energy in him. And I like the legend T-Foss always says, you cannot have – the Pistons don't have enough of those guys right now. He thinks that they need more of those a-holes, more of those, you're really trying to square it with us, you're really trying to talk greasy with us. And I like those types of moves. But, when you look at what the Pistons are trying to do here, Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, he does say that their interest in Malik Monk, it does coincide as well with what they're trying to look for money-wise too, because it coincides with their interest in Duncan Robinson. So I don't know if the delay is because of something with the Kings or if the delay is another player that they're looking at or a potential other sign and trade. But I do know this. Trajan Langdon and Cole are working. That I do know. Just kind of fillers and things like that. That's why I came in really pleased about the Caris LeVert deal. When I first heard it, it was like, But Rod Beard has always taught me, hey, let the smoke clear. Those first deals are usually, when you see deals like that make you go, like the Milwaukee Bucks deal with the Pistons, and we were like, what? That's all? You got out the deal for trading Jeremy Grant, and then all of a sudden it turned into Jalen Duren. I think that all of us were like, oh, awesome type of deal. So this is one of those ones where you get the sense and the feeling and through some of the rumors and things that you can hear that there is a whole lot more that could happen for the Pistons. It's just a matter of, do you get the Sacramento Kings to play ball in your court?
That is the $1 million question.
Someone always wins the trade.
Somebody always wins the trade, and I think Trajan Langdon also believes in what could be, because we're talking about with what's in house. We're talking about the potential of Jaden Ivey would want an extension. Jalen Duren would want an extension. Asar Thompson, a healthy offseason with not having to deal with the blood clot and not having to miss the beginning of the year. Those are also factors that could help this team moving forward, help it so that even underwhelming moves on the surface might help you even more than you think. I mean, like Caris LeVert, for example, or another one like, I don't know, Duncan Robinson. Just names that I mentioned. Not the type of name that would make you go, yay, but if those young guys keep developing, Ron Holland's second-year jump, that's gonna play the biggest role on, I think, what this team is this year. Because I see a lot of people looking at what they've done so far and being like, oh no, they're getting lapped. And I even admitted right now that the Hawks are better. I'd say that the Magic are better. On July 1st, 2025 at 8:42 Eastern Standard Time. There's more time.
Do you know how many seconds there are?
I don't, because maybe in a couple of seconds a move will be made and I'll be like, hey, not better anymore. Hawks and
but you're right on this, and it's I agree with that sentiment. I'm going to continue to firmly say that they need more, but this is one where I get very, very intrigued about the young guys they have, about the expectations ahead for these guys, and the fact that I do believe these young guys, one more of these players, needs to, I'm not saying be all-star, but it needs to be discernible. Yo, this guy is definitely next up. Not the potential stuff, not the streaks of games, not the, here and there they have this and that. I want to see them not just run it back as it relates to the number one lob connection between Cade and Jalen Duren, but you want to see Jalen Duren go out there and play like he knows he's the biggest player on the court. This season he realized, I am a big man. And he stepped to the podium and said, I've been playing on some baby-ish. I went back and looked at the film and realized there's a whole lot more I could bring to this thing. And we saw Jalen Duren's game take that step forward in season, which sometimes doesn't happen. That is difficult to do, especially for a young player. Now you're talking about a full offseason. I am hoping that Jalen Duren that we see is one that just from a brute physical force. I don't care if you got the footwork now. I don't care if you know how to do a hook shot. I do care about the fact that I don't know if you realize you will throw probably 80 to 85% of the entire league through the stanchion when you dunk. No one's jumping with you. You have the skill set and the tools to be able to be the perfect paint protector, not just rim protector. And so those are the things that I'm hoping that we see out of him. And with Asar Thompson, honestly, when we see him get the usage, we see him perform. I think it's just a matter of the right game plan, because J.B. Bickerstaff didn't get the start last season, even knowing what Asar Thompson could be, because Asar Thompson started off the year hurt. So I believe that though you want to see him develop the shooting more, the shot creation, become more of a facilitator, I do believe that J.B. Bickerstaff will help at least Asar Thompson in strategy more, and Jalen Duren can help himself more if he continues to take this step towards Hulk smash, realizing you are the Incredible Hulk. Nobody can stand in between you and that basket.
Well, and if we're talking about facilitators, the good news is Asar, Duren, and Ivy have proven that they can do it. Not necessarily as like secondary ones, but they for sure can. You saw Point Duren, you saw Asar, and you've obviously seen Ivy. Although I think Ivy actually improved more off ball last year.
Because we're talking about additions and what they got to do, and right now in a vacuum, and even other moves. What up, though, that dude, Justin? Good to see you, bro. And even these other moves, we're looking at these things like, man, is it enough? And it's largely because why? Because when we first think of Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson, we don't think of them in the same league as a Paolo Banchero or a Franz Wagner or other supporting thirds, even to some of these up-and-coming teams. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I hear some people who still want to act, they believe, and these are true. Like, when you think Jabari Smith or Asar Thompson.
I mean, I would take Asar.
I would take Asar too, but Jabari just got 5 for 122.
And on this team,
which
on this Rockets team,
awesome. It bodes well for the Pistons in their future.
Yeah, no, and on this Rockets team, I mean, I'm still a little like, I don't know, but he's not going to have to do too much.
But can Asar, that's where I do believe that Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren, more than any of the others, they can be those all-star types. Mind you, if Jaden Ivey's on this team, I do believe he can be that too, but I am giving him the, hey, get back, get healthy, do what you have to do to get back and get healthy type thing. I'm not putting that pressure on him right now because he's not going to have the same type of offseason as Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson, who are completely healthy, coming off of offseason where they played till the end of it. But I am expecting these guys to be able to take up some of the slack from the players that we might lose in Schroeder, and we might lose, Beasley if we don't get him back on the low, or if he's exonerated and we bring him back for whatever they feel he's worth. Those players, to me, are the ones that I'm looking at being able to step up and pull a share of that weight with Cade Cunningham.
Well, and just one last thing on Beasley before we get to the Red Wings, because, hey, Justin arrived just in time. But if I just want to put this on record because I'm going to be branded as a Beasley hater for the rest of my life now. If he gets the Terry Rozier and is pretty much cleared and can be signed for the cheap, maybe even later on in the season, I'm cool with it. I'm perfectly okay with the talks of 3-year, $42 million breaking down right now, because you can't do that with somebody who's got a gambling investigation. You just can't. Yeah. Hopefully he's innocent though, because if he's guilty, that could mean a world of hurt for him.
Yeah, and he did post video yesterday to his socials where he was rapping and such and putting on his shoes as if, man, it's business as usual. And I hope it is that. I like who Malik Beasley was in Detroit. I like who Malik Beasley was in interviews. He was respectful. And when you see some of the other things that don't get caught by the camera, it's like, yo, that's real. When you hear the things that the other people and the players and the people around and the staff, like, as a reporter, you're going to talk to some of the attendants. You're going to talk to the people who see these guys. Yo, who is that person really? Nah, Beasley is real, man. Beasley did this for us, man. Did you know that Beasley did this in the community? No, I didn't know. Why was it publicized? He just didn't want the attention. So it's like knowing that there was a past that you're like, you know what, you don't quite know if you want that energy, understanding who he at least tried to be here when it was about trying to represent Detroit. It just is this, and he's going to have to pay for whatever he did. So I don't excuse that. But in terms of how quickly this thing went from, yo, this guy is exactly who you want to attach to your franchise, to where this is all in limbo, it is disappointing. This was one of those storybook type stories, effectively. Fairy tale type stories, I guess. You don't really get these opportunities often. And so I do hope, as his attorney is saying and as boldly as he's presenting himself, that he is exonerated from this. But it did, to some degrees, affect, and some could say hurt, what the Pistons are able to do in this offseason.
Yeah, and that really kind of spearheaded my wanting for another movement shooter. R.I.P. Gary Trent Jr., Duncan Robinson, bring him home. Not pounding the table for it, but
I want to see what all they have, because they're sitting here right now also trying to get rid of, get from underneath Simone Fontecchio's money because he's an expiring deal. Yeah. Now I'm just like, what else is going on here? Mm-hmm. That's going to be very, very intriguing, very, very interesting here. But I see it. Donovan Schroeder is already gone. Everybody is believing it, that he's already effectively a Sacramento King, which means we will get some breaking news at some point, hopefully today, that the Pistons have made a trade.
Yes. And if it breaks during BDE, E&E, or heavyweights, enjoy the bump. Happy for you. No, I'm dead serious. I just want it to happen. But,
shout out to Chris Platty as well. I know
shout out to Chris Platty.
Malik Monk was somebody who, when you're talking about the pivot, that was somebody that he was like, you know what, I would like a guy like a Malik Monk. So shout out to him, man. And shout out to Anson Wells and a lot of the other people here who really like to talk hoops, man. It's been an awesome renaissance of Detroit basketball, and we really get to talk about winning Detroit basketball. We get to see guys who we know have been down in the trenches with this team just as much as I have over the last 4 years, really be able to cover and talk about this team in such a positive light where it's not, oh, they suck, just talk Lions. Now it's like, whoa. We've had people tell us, whoa. We know Lions are on the way. By the way, July 1st, you guys realize that means this is officially Detroit Lions month? We have Detroit Lions football. Preseason kicks off. Hall of Fame game at the end of the month. Yeah. That's awesome. This is going to be an awesome month, man.
No,
July in the D.
It's awesome, but right now, and say what you want, I'm not in Lions mode yet. I know some people are all in for the Tigers.
See what I came, man.
Yeah. A day like today when we get to talk about moves being made for the Pistons and the Red Wings with more to come, please. These are fun days, but speaking of fun days, the Detroit Red Wings, they've been making some moves, and I think they're on a streak of some nice ones. More needs to be done, but we can talk about what they've done and what they could still do. Justin's in the house. Chase is in the house. 2/3 of Woodward Wings. Hey, should be a fun discussion. But first, oh boy, we've only taken one break.
Yeah.
Merch.
Definitely got to double up. So let's do merch and Feldman right now. Head over to WoodwardSports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab. We're dropping new designs for you every single week. We got to get some new ones up there pretty soon as it is right now because the draft just happened. Some exciting news for these Detroit Pistons as well too. But go and get yourself those Woodward Tigers gears that you should be rocking down at Comerica Park right now. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, we got everything for you. And you can't forget about the LFG Red Wings hoodies and t-shirts still available for you right now. All you got to do is head over to WoodwardSports.com and click on that shop tab. And you know what? You can also rock this gear over at Feldman. Isn't that right, Chase?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking to get fast or get loose in a new vehicle from Feldman Chevrolet, they can hook you up with 5 different locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, or Lansing. You got this month's specials including a 2025 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. It's $149 lease per month, or you can get fast and get loose in that 2026 Equinox LT for $209 per month on that lease. Shout out Fast and Loose.
Shout out.
Tired of losing out on the car of your dreams? Bad credit? No credit? At the Feldman Chevrolet Freedom Sale, we say yes. Over 5,000 new Chevys to choose from, all priced to move with our best deals of the year. Get a 2025 Silverado for just $149 a month, or this 2026 Equinox for only $209 a month. When other dealers say no, Feldman Chevrolet says yes. Don't miss the Freedom Sale, going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated. Like hopefully breaking news, Detroit Pistons have made a trade for Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis. Shout out to Kavasi Chase. Like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome. And attention, sports fan. That's all the beautiful people out there. Don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy. So that's today, and every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards, where he's offering top-notch injury advice. So trust the guy that D-Mac does, because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. And you guys already know he's going to be bringing you the latest in Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, Detroit sports, health, news. So stay tapped in, man. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. What up, though, people? We are back, and you know what? Talking about back, the back wall looks amazing for lunch right now. So, Buddy's Pizza, you guys already know what the deal is. But as we're talking about this kind of July in the D, right? We got Red Wings and Pistons in the thick of free agency, draft, making moves. We have Lions football this month, and we also have the Detroit Tigers, who continue to just be a squad who seemingly really doesn't want to lose too many series this year. But the Red Wings, they're the one that we are wondering, are they going to join the other teams in the Sun? And so far, they've made some moves that I've been glad to see excite our Woodward Wings crew. That is Spin Dog, Flannel Sam, and that dude Justin who's in the building. And there's another move here, and I can't wait to get you guys' reaction on here. A trade from Vladimir Tarasenko to the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. And they re-signed Patrick Kane to a 1-year, $3 million deal. And there was that time when some people didn't think that Patrick Kane would be back with the Detroit Red Wings.
And I think that right now you can say Steve Yzerman is on a good streak, just on the surface. I was happy with the Gibson trade. I know you were, Justin. I'm happy certainly getting rid of Tarasenko, basically giving him to Minnesota. And for the record, that makes more sense for Minnesota than you think, because you might think to yourself, why would anyone want Vladimir Tarasenko? Because the Minnesota Wild are a playoff team. They were good, but their Achilles heel is they need more goal scoring. You stick Vladimir Tarasenko on their third or fourth line, maybe he gives some value. And you think he's going to play on their first?
Yeah, he's going to play with Boldy and Kaprizov.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what my boy was telling me. He's a Wild fan.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Okay.
Have fun with that, man.
Yeah. All right then. Maybe you take back what I said. But the Wild need goal scorers, and the Red Wings needed to get them the F off the roster. And and also the Red Wings re-signed Patrick Kane, 1 year, $3 million, and I think that's a good deal at a good price. But more obviously needs to be done. This can't be it, because Patrick Kane should be on the Red Wings' third line, without a shadow of a doubt. Justin, how do you feel about the Tarasenko trade and the Patrick Kane re-signing?
Tarasenko trade was a masterclass. Steve Yzerman needed to get rid of him, and getting rid of him for no assets and no salary retained is 100% a win.
Yes.
The John Gibson trade, 100% a win. We talked about it yesterday. Giving up low-level assets for a high reward if Gibson's able to pan out and play even to a smidge of his prime. I think the Patrick Kane deal is good. I think it's a step in the right direction, but at the same time, you cannot be done. He has to be a third liner in this team. He cannot be playing top 6 minutes. His body just can't hold up in that way. And if you don't think so, think about how Patrick Kane would be playing after a 3-game series against the Florida Panthers, or a 7-game series against the Florida Panthers in the playoffs. He's not going to be able to make it to Game 5 and Game 6 playing top 6 minutes. His hips are going to give out on him. And I just don't want to put him in that position. I'm trying to build this team to a point where they're good enough to win a playoff series. And the only way to do that is by reinforcing the top 6 and reinforcing the top 4 defensively. And that's what he's going to have to do today starting at noon.
Yeah. No. There's still a lot of work to be done.
The bonuses do scare me.
Sure.
They were a little too easy to get, in my opinion. I don't think that playing 10 games should get you $2.5 million, Patty. No offense to you, but no. I mean, you might as well make that contract 5.5 AAV, which kind of takes away some of the value of you losing Tarasenko, because that is a pretty big overpay for Patrick Kane. I can't lie. Me personally, if I was Steve Yzerman, and I know I'm going to come off as an a-hole when I say this, but if I was Steve Yzerman, I would have told Patrick Kane, look, man, you're not what you used to be. You're a power play specialist. You're great for the locker room. But at the end of the day, if you want to uproot your family and move somewhere else for 1 year for your last year NHL career, go ahead, man, because you're not worth $5.5 million. He's just not, even with the cap going up.
No.
And I know that's going to get me crucified, but at the end of the day, he's not what he used to be. And when I saw us get Vladimir Tarasenko off the books, I thought we were going to be able to sign Patrick Kane, Albert Johansson, and Soderblom for all under $6 million. But now that is as much as you gave Patrick Kane, which I figured you'd only have to give around 3 or 4. So I know you're just splitting hair on numbers, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about adding legitimate depth to this roster, splitting hairs in these $1 million differences is what makes Florida so good and makes Florida able to re-sign Ekblad and Bennett and Marchand. So I kind of feel like there is a need to be nitpicky, because we're getting to a point of what's the point of even rebuilding until getting to 2030 when there's even a chance to winning the Cup when the Florida Panthers are done.
Well, and Justin, good on you for bringing up the bonuses, because I completely glossed over that, and that's my bad. He gets, and these are the bonuses so we can lay it out for those of you who don't know. He gets $2.5 million for playing 10 games, which I agree is, you might as well just give it to him now. $250,000 for 30 games, an additional $250,000 for 50 games, $500,000 for making the playoffs, which would be awesome, of course, $250,000 for winning the first round, and $250,000 for winning the second round. So those are potentially an additional $4 million in bonuses. Obviously, if Patrick Kane turns into a 1-year, $7 million player, that means the Red Wings would have won 2 playoff series, and we would love that. But some of those bonuses are a little bit too easy to achieve. I mean, even the additional $250,000 for 30 games is, even Patrick Kane, somebody as long in the tooth as he is, should be able to catch that. But Chase, Red Wings have been making moves. The John Gibson trade over the weekend, trading Vladimir Tarasenko for basically nothing, but not having to attach an asset or have to retain any salary, and Patrick Kane for 1 year, $3 million, which could turn into 1 year, $7 million, probably most likely 1 year, $5.5 million. How do you grade what the Red Wings have done so far?
I mean, I don't know how to grade it on like a letter scale.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. That was a poor
just,
choice, yeah.
But I mean, I think the Gibson trade is nice. I think he's good, obviously going to be our starter. I think you're going to only put Talbot out there between 20 and 25 games, which, as old as he is, I think is all he's good for.
He'll be very good for those 20, 25
Exactly.
games.
I think he's was very good last year in small sample sizes. When we put him out there too much, that's when we saw him like start to get hurt, start to fall apart in places. So I think him as that backup is going to be a really good role. I think I'd like to see us add another defenseman, a defensive-focused defenseman, because although people talk about John Gibson's numbers being low in Anaheim the last few years, they have had awful defense in front of him, just like the Red Wings have right now. So we definitely need to do something to address. I think, like I said, I'd want a defensive defenseman over an offensive defenseman, at least right now. Let our young guys like Edvinsson, Sider, ASP, when he gets up here, let them focus on being more of those offensive guys. I want like a veteran who will help just lock down on defense and help with the PK. That big deal to take care of the PK.
No, and there's still some out there who are available.
Yeah.
And I actually have a list of not yet, JB, but Justin, what and we had talked about it yesterday, but this was before the Tarasenko news broke and the Patrick Kane re-signing.
Can I say really quick?
Please.
I like. It's cool that Patrick Kane got re-signed. I really did not want to bring him back.
I mean,
it's fair, especially that AAV chase.
I didn't want to bring him back. I didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze, and I don't care like whatever incentive laden deal you want to offer to him. I don't think he's worth the roster spot. I don't think he's worth the money. I don't think he's worth the time on the ice. He's a liability.
Speaking to the choir, Chase. I can't lie. For the amount his contract is worth, I question whether or not we shouldn't have let him walk.
Dude, he's just
$5.5 million, because if he's going to play 10 games, let's call it as that is a $5.5 million contract. You can get a legitimate top 6 forward for $5.5 million, and that is my issue, because he is not a legitimate top 6 forward anymore. And if he really does, because this contract is probably going to be $6 million probably, because he's going to hit another one of his incentives, and that's a lot of money for a 1-year Patrick Kane. When you see guys, he's signing a similar contract that Ekblad signed in Florida, that Marchand signed in Florida. Like, these guys are way more effective at their points in this career. And that's where I think Steve Yzerman should have played a little more hardball with freaking Kane. Because you know what, Kane? You want to go to the Rangers? Fine. Kill the Rangers cap for us, because they have no cap, and they need cap to sign people to be better than us. So, yeah, go ahead. Have fun. Our power play doesn't need you. And that's my issue, that everyone, oh, yeah, we need Kane. But our power play's fine. We have Raymond, DeBrincat, Sider, Larkin. Like, we've enough to still have a great power play. Patrick Kane isn't going to define whether our power play is good or not. It's definitely not going to be bad now that we have Kane. But how is the top 6 going to be at a point where they're good enough? Is the top 6 defensively going to be good enough? Like, forwards helping the D. I don't know.
Tell me how you really feel, Justin.
I am telling you how I really feel. I love Patrick Kane, and I wish he would have taken a more team-friendly deal. Honestly, it's kind of BS he didn't.
Yeah, and Patrick Kane at this stage of his career, I think he's somebody that you could deploy. And I don't know if the Red Wings have the roster yet to do that. You could put him on the 3rd or 4th line.
You don't have the roster for it yet, though.
Hey, as of right now, and that's where they need to do more. You could put him on, power play 2. You could deploy him. I think he still has some value even in 3-on-3 overtime. I know we discussed it on Woodward Wings, how on offense he's obviously had a propensity for game-winning goals, but defensively he could also lose you the game. However, at least in the regular season, and I'm not saying we should be satisfied with overtime losses, at least you have that 1 point baked in. And Patrick Kane did have a lot of game-winning goals. Obviously, you could put him on shootout too. He has value, but I get what you guys are saying. That a 10-game, $2.5 million bonus is he's gonna get $5.5 million.
She's saying, I'm looking here. Patrick Ofiari, he believes he's the sub-4 glue. Freddie Phelps says, talk that talk, Justin. Jussie Adams is crashing out right now. This team is so sad when the fact this team's fans are like, we need Patrick Kane to be resigned. LOL. An older guy and he's our top priority. That's just sad. Shows you where this franchise is at now. And then he sends in another one. He says, at Justin, if the Wings don't make the playoffs this year for another year, will this town actually admit that Stevie Y needs to go, or will people keep saying the owner doesn't want to spend? And it's interesting where people are, because I know that the Red Wings still have the ability to do some things in this offseason, just like we know with the Pistons, but it doesn't seem like people are as bullish about what they've seen today as maybe Flannel and some of you guys have been.
Well, the options have been getting eaten up quickly. Teams have realized that they need to re-sign their guys to be able to stay competitive because of how light this free agent class actually is. And now you see Ekblad off the board, Bennett off the board, Dobson off the board. I mean, there's so many of the premier players there's really only Garkiev left on the D market, Lindgren, and those are the B-level names. They're not the A-level names. And when you go into free agency and you're like, let's really improve this roster, let's go after and take a swing, and then they go out and they just re-sign Kane. And I know everyone loves Kane, but at the end of the day, I think everyone can admit this team is not going to compete to win the Stanley Cup next year. So really, why do you care about a one-year deal? To be honest, seriously, I love Patrick Kane, and yeah, it's going to be great that he gets his 500 points in the wing wheel, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. That's an individual accomplishment. That is not a team accomplishment. I am trying to win playoff series. I am trying to win a Stanley Cup. And you know what? Patrick Kane doesn't help me get there. And yeah, his veteran leadership is great, but his veteran leadership isn't worth $5.5 million. And that's where I'm kind of getting off the highway with this one, because this is not an exciting move to me. It's not. And that's especially because he didn't take a team-friendly deal, which is BS.
Go off, Justin.
Especially with seeing what Florida keeps doing. Like, Florida's able to retain freaking Marchand for $5.3 million, but then Kane, after 10 games, is going to be worth more than Brad Marchand. Like, what are we talking about?
How do you feel about the window, though? Are you more or less confident about the rebuild window? Obviously, we know the Lions are in what's called a Super Bowl window. The Tigers, they just kicked the door down as it relates to World Series window. The Pistons, they're like, yo, we're a top 4 team in the East, or we hope that this offseason can net them that. But with the Red Wings and their outlook, there's a lot of people who believe are right on the cusp of this team finally being able to knock that door. Are you still confident on that window for this team?
I'm still confident.
Not just getting in cute seasons, but being what they're selling us. They're telling us it takes time to build that perennial playoff and effectively Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah, because they're not just trying to make the playoffs. They're just trying to make the playoffs. Then they could make a bunch of these Patrick Kane style moves, and they could make the playoffs next year, and they'd be fine. But they're building for long-term success, and I appreciate that, because they're not trying to be a one and done in the playoffs, and that's what they would do if they went out and they overpaid a bunch of guys this year and didn't stay patient. They need to, but there's a mix of staying patient and being aggressive, because every team in the East is getting better, and there's going to hit a point where every team in the East is better than you, and you're playing uber catch up instead of the catch up you're already playing, and it's getting to that point right now. So this offseason, and Wings fans are not going to want to hear this, there's no guarantee they make the playoffs again this year. They're not. I don't know if they're going to make enough moves for them to do so, considering how good the East is already becoming. They're building for the year after, and then that's clear to me, especially with the way that they signed Kane to this massive contract for 1 year. It's because he wanted 2 years. Kane wanted 2 years. He wanted 2 years of $3 million. He got 1 year of $3 million with huge incentives, which means to me that they are building towards, not this year, but next year, where that is also a way better free agency class as well. So, but does that mean that they need to stay utterly by and not improve their team this free agency to set them up for next year? No, they have to do that. And do I think they will? Yes. I think they'll make minimal moves to improve this team, but I don't think that they're going to make the swing move that is going to excel them into being playoff contenders and like contending to win a playoff series.
Well, and that's where I wanted to shift it into who's available, because we all know who's not available. Some of the names that we were most excited about and did a lot of Woodward Wings segments about. However, if you've got that
one of my favorite targets is still available.
All right, and maybe he's on this.
He's probably on the list.
Hopefully he's on this list. And mostly what I've got on this list are UFAs, but we also have like trade potential RFA.
Yep, there is.
Forwards, Nikolai Ehlers is still available. Brock Besser.
Please do not.
Andrew Mangiapane, Capo Caco.
Justin is agitated.
And I'm just saying who's available, and a potential Brian Rust trade because Pittsburgh maybe wanting to get out from under that. Defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, Ryan Lindgren, Keandre Miller is an RFA, Bowen Byram is also an RFA, and Cody Ceci, even though he might not excite some people, that would be that veteran Moneyball move, just a veteran dirtbag who blocks shots and is a defensive-minded defenseman. So, obviously, this isn't the most exciting in the world, but for those of you who watch WU and haven't tapped into Woodward Wings, which of these is your guy, Justin?
Keandre Miller.
Yes.
Keandre Miller would be the person who is most appealing to me. Keandre Miller is a guy who is a good two-way defenseman. He can play the power play. He's got a lot of juice in the 5-on-5 scoring-wise. He blocks a lot of shots. He's very physical. He's a left-handed defenseman. I think the fit with Mo Sider is absolutely seamless. It seems like we are the team to beat when it comes to these sweepstakes. We have been in on him for the last day and a half, ever since that Ekblad seemed like he was going to go back. I believe that this now has to ramp up how aggressive you have to be for Keandre Miller, considering the fact that he's kind of a depreciated asset a little bit in the Rangers' eyes. He's not going to cost a lot in the trade market. I think a second and a third is probably around what he's going to cost, and for that cost, I don't think it's too bad. 6 years, around $6.5 million for him, which I think is a very good deal for being able to pay a top four defenseman that at this point, and how free agency is going to go. You're going to see veteran defensemen getting bag after bag with how the salary cap's going up. And I think Patrick Kane is honestly proof of that, which is why I think Steve Yzerman has been so adamant about the trade market's going to be where I make my money, because he's willing to give up assets if it's for contracts that aren't very high risk. That's why I think Brian Rust is another intriguing option. With $5.5 million on his 2 years left on his deal, where he can essentially be around a point per game player at that AAV, is a steal in the new cap market. So I think that he's honestly, I think he's going to be very inactive when it comes to free agency. I think he's going to make multiple trades to shore up this roster, and that's where he's going to make his money. I think if you're telling me right now, Justin, if you had to guess, gun to your head, who's he signed, and give me two of these names, I'm telling you Keandre Miller and Brian Rust, with a very, very close behind Ryan Lindgren. Right. I think that those are the three names to keep your eye on today when it comes to the Red Wings, because they're all guys who will be relatively good contracts considering how much the cap's going up.
I'll tell you what, Justin, if you told me before the offseason that they were going to trade for John Gibson, they were going to acquire Keandre Miller, and they were going to acquire Brian Rust. Keandre Miller's an RFA. Brian Rust is still 2 years left under his contract. John Gibson is 2 years left in his contract. I would have been cool with it. It's not the splash, but you talk about Keandre Miller and Brian Rust. I think Keandre Miller, and I think you would agree with me, Justin, would thrive playing with the Red Wings, potentially even with Mo Sider as his pairing. Because Keandre Miller's a do-it-all guy. He's offensive, but he also blocks shots and can be defensive as well. He would help the 5-on-5 blue line scoring, and he would also help the PK. And Brian Rust is a dirtbag. Brian Rust plays the PK. Brian Rust can score on the 5-on-5.
Very good at the PK.
And he can, as Justin said, there have been multiple seasons where he's been damn near a point a game. So if you tell me John Gibson, Keandre Miller, Brian Rust, the Detroit Red Wings are making the playoffs next year, I don't give a damn how other East teams have leveled up. That would be enough for the Red Wings to make the playoffs. Win a series, not so sure, but I would be okay with that. Not over the moon, not doing backflips off of the desk, but more than a golf clap. I would give something like this.
But I think opposed to last year's offseason, you can legitimately say and know, okay, we have gotten better. We have gotten better. We have guys who will be pushed down from their roles now into roles that fit them better as players. You will no longer have Ben Sherrod in your first player with Snyder. You will have Keandre Miller. You will no longer have Alex Lyon or Peter Mrazek starting games. You will have John Gibson starting games. You will no longer have Soderblom playing first-line minutes with Larkin and Raymond. You will have Brian Rust. I think moving guys down your roster, you also see guys grow and play better in the roles that they are meant to play. Ben Sherrod on the third line will look a lot better than Ben Sherrod on the first line. Let's just call it how it is. Soderblom is not meant to be a first-line forward. He is a good bottom six grinder who's big and needs to hit more. That is the role he needs to be playing. So I think when you're moving guys down and you're able to kind of mix and match this lineup how it's supposed to be. Like Andrew Kopp should be your third line center with Patrick Kane. That will be a very formidable third line. Do you have someone who could step up into the top six though? If you sign one guy, maybe not. That's why you need 2 top 6 forwards. That's why you need 2 defensemen. Like, we're just getting to a point where if you want to talk about how good this team needs to be, you're still 4 players away. You're still 2 top 6 forwards away, and you're still 2 top 4D away. And so when we finally figure that out, and ASP might be one of those top 4D, but when we figure that out, we'll finally be a playoff team, and you'll finally be able to expect them to compete in a playoff series.
Well, look, Nick Hedigan, he believes that 100% the Wings make the playoffs next year. He says a full year of the Todd father. He said alone is a major upgrade.
Nick, you're my boy. I love you, dog, but you got to be realistic. I know the Todd father has made an impact, but at the end of the day, you have to look at every other team in the East. This is not just a one-team conference. We don't just get to be good one year and then, whoop-de-doo, we're in the playoffs. No, that's not how it works. There is going to take 94 points plus to get into playoffs last year. We had 86 last year, okay? That is a huge jump. That is literally winning 4 more games.
Yeah, and Nick Hedigan, as we stand right now, you definitely can't say 100%. But, and I will...
And the Rangers had the same amount of points as us, and they're going to get Garkiev.
I know.
Flannel versus percentages this week.
I will die on this hill, though. A Gibson, Rust, Keandre Miller offseason gets the Red Wings into the playoffs.
I think so. I think it gets you close.
And maybe not win a series, but it gets you into the playoffs. And you said close... 92, 94 points.
I have to see what the other teams continue to do.
I understand. No, I know that's being realistic, and I get what you're saying, but it's just
because seriously. I mean, the Islanders have just as loaded of a prospect pool now as the Red Wings do after this draft. The Canadians obviously added Noah Dobson and are extremely active in the trade market still. They're trying to go after Jordan Kyrou. If they get Jordan Kyrou, not to be that guy. But the Habs will be at a point where we cannot touch them this offseason with a move. Unless we go after Jason Robertson. They will be too far ahead of us. Ottawa continues to improve. And the list, Boston improved. The list goes on and on. The Rangers are going to improve. They have the same amount of points as us, behind us by 1 point. It is going to be a very tough offseason for the Red Wings. They have to make sure that they add, or they will be left behind.
I think if they add properly, they will be above the New York Islanders and Philadelphia Flyers.
And
what does that mean?
They should.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean like a ton, but I think those teams will be.
But at the end of the day, those are teams that are below us right now.
Yeah.
And we're worried about
they should stay
making
below.
Sure that we stay ahead of them. That is an issue. We have to stay ahead of them, and we have to get closer to the Canadians, to Ottawa, to Columbus.
When I said that out loud, I'm kind of like, oh, what do they want, a cookie for that? But I don't think that the Islanders and the Flyers, when it all shapes out, will be as good as the Red Wings next year. What does that mean? Not a ton. The Red Wings are going to have to potentially be better than Columbus. That's another one. Got to be better than Columbus. We'll see. I think that there's a pathway to the Red Wings actually having...
There's definitely a path.
There's a pathway, too, to them even having what I would consider a somewhat cost-effective, good offseason. But I don't know... They could do more than that even.
Yeah.
Why stay cost effective?
And that's Nick Hedigan. He adds some more context to his statement of the Todd father. He said if you cut Derek Lalonde out prior to the start of the season, we most likely end up with 95 points last year. And he does believe that with just the goalie addition of Gibson, that they added 6 to 10 points based on that.
I'm sorry, Nick. I don't mean to be that guy, but, if, Dylan Larkin didn't drop off a cliff after the Four Nation, if Raymond didn't fall off a cliff after Four Nation, if Casper emerged earlier in the season, if Kopp didn't get hurt, yeah, if, ands, or buts are fine, but we're talking about a team that has been toasted by if, ands, or buts the last 2 seasons trying to get in the playoffs. It is over with the excuses. They are either good enough to make the playoffs or they're not. Todd McClellan can get him there for sure. I have no doubt that the younger players' growth will be more than it was under Lalonde, under McClellan. I expect more consistency from this team. I expect a lot more from this team with McClellan being the coach. But at the end of the day, he is a coach. He can only coach what's on the ice. And when the Canadians have a better roster, when the Columbus has a better roster, when the Rangers might have a better roster, the coaching can only do you so much. You need the players to play the games, and that's what we want. You need players, and that's what they need to do, or they're going to fall behind, and they're not going to have enough to become a playoff team next year. Straight up.
And just remember, and I'm not trying to hate on Todd McClellan because that's not a smart thing right now, I don't think. The Red Wings had their resurgence under Todd McClellan. They also had their post-trade deadline collapse under Todd McClellan.
It goes both ways.
He looked like a miracle worker at first, but what he actually probably was a decent upgrade over Derek Lalonde. A clear upgrade and a good coach, an experienced coach who's won a lot of games, not so much in the playoffs, but won a lot of regular season games. That doesn't guarantee you anything. Got to do more in this offseason. I think we would all agree with that, and I think we all agree that they will.
Man, it's been awesome. Like I told you, I love Woodward Wings. I love what we do here at Woodward Sports, and obviously, since one of the Woodward Wings segments, like the passion you guys bring, the in-depth knowledge as well as the ways forward, whether it aligns with what the eyes are paying is or not. I think it's healthy, especially when we're talking about things we don't like, to be also to present the things that we do and stay tapped in, because I know that free agency for both the Pistons and both the Red Wings are still in full effect, and a lot of people are expecting domino moves that are going to happen that are going to help both of these teams be able to bolster sure improvements over the previous seasons. And by that I mean Pistons being able to host playoffs next year, the Red Wings making the playoffs, and not for an aspect of a cute season. And I think that that's where you get a lot of the people, in both sides of the camp. Some people are feeling like Justin. I'm seeing Detroit Dabber in the chat who's feeling on some aspects opposite. But I do wonder, and JB Smooth, if we can get a poll up, I do wonder where people's confidence is right now with the Detroit Red Wings, because I'm seeing people in the chat who are bullish to some degree, and I'm just wondering how many is that the vocal minority, or is this representing more of the people in the chat that they do believe you're looking at a playoff team this year?
That's tough. And I think it's going to be that poll is going to be pretty even. But you know what? While we have some time before what's trending, we threw a lot at you today when it comes to the Pistons and Red Wings offseason. We talked about what they did. We talked about whether we liked it, what they could still do. But we want to hear from you guys. Give us a call, 313-552-6322. We will get as many of you in as we can before we get to everybody's favorite segment, What's Trending. 313-552-6322, whether it's the Pistons or the Red Wings. Get your thoughts in and we will respond, and JB is going to pin that number to the top just in case some of you are new and have not seen it yet. All right. Mad Packs, correct? Oh, man, we just did that right before the putting Chase on the phones, but if you got a second.
All right, so let's get the music going. Mad Packs, Mad Packs, Mad Packs, Mad Packs. JB here to talk to you about Mad Packs, the hottest new cannabis brand, and they have partnered with Woodward Sports to launch their new products on May 30th. Available in select retailers near you, High Low is getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom Shakalaka. Boom Shakalaka is a live resin-infused tarantula, and this one's the bomb. Blizzard Packs THCA. Moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Stay tuned with Woodward Sports for all of the latest updates.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app online or in club and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Second Best Bar in Detroit for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw, Easttown, and Venn Johnson.
Tired of losing out on the car of your dreams? Bad credit? No credit? At the Feldman Chevrolet Freedom Sale, we say yes. Over 5,000 new Chevys to choose from, all priced to move with our best deals of the year. Get a 2025 Silverado for just $149 a month, or this 2026 Equinox for only $209 a month. When other dealers say no, Feldman Chevrolet says yes. Don't miss the Freedom Sale, going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
You're simply hitting the game or just chilling at home, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's largest line of recreational cannabis products. 27 locations across the state, 9 alone in Metro Detroit, so there's always one close nearby you. But don't fear, because you live in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan. Stores are popping up your way very, very soon. If you don't have time to check out all their products in store, check them out online at jarscannabis.com or check them out on Instagram at jars_live right now. Just don't go to Jars and then buy a car at Les Stanford Buick. Do it the opposite way.
The opposite way. JB with the sensible advice as always. Les Stanford Buick and GMC has great offers for everyone. Get a 2025 Envision Preferred AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the 2025 Hummer EV SUV for only $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC, lesstanford.com.
Hey, what up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward, and thank you guys for choosing to kick off this day with the WUW Crew. And it's dope with Pistons and Red Wings. They kind of took a center stage this morning because their off seasons and who they're going to be as a team moving ahead, it's going to wrap up soon. And they just got through the draft. They've gotten through the first portion or first moves of free agency, and now we're waiting to see what's going to be the finishing touches to be able to bolster improvement over last season. And you know how the people are feeling? Mid to low. 22% of the people say their level of confidence in the Red Wings next season, high 22%, mid 51%, low 27%. And I do believe that a lot of people probably feel like Chuck Brewer, who says Kool-Aid. I think we are an improved team, and I still like the future, but I'm not sure that we're a playoff team this coming season.
God,
man.
I don't think that can be acceptable though, at this stage.
Like, as a fan, like that, because I respect
like
Chuck
no
Brewer,
Chuck
but
Brewer.
can you have that at this stage? Can you have this be a season where playoffs isn't it, and you can say it's okay? Because there's other people in the chat who's continued to state, we've been saying it's for this next season after for 5 years.
If they don't make the playoffs but they are better, and you can see the blueprint from them going from a non-playoff team to a team that can make a run. Then yes, it will be okay. But if they show that they don't have a path to doing that next offseason, I think then that's where you can be critical. I think this year you could definitely be critical. You can definitely get upset. But this will be a season where it splits the fan base even more than it already has into the people who are like, patience, which that crowd is way too aggressive on patience. Like, you need to still make moves. You can be patient, but you still need to make moves.
Never heard of that before.
And then the other side of the fan base will be like, oh, we need playoffs. But they want the playoffs, and they're willing to hinder the future for it. There's just a difference between, like, there's just a common ground in the middle where Steve Yzerman actually works, and that's where people don't understand that he's going to make his money where he likes to make his money, and he's going to improve the team at his pace, and he's got as long as he wants, because I can tell you what, Illich is sleeping up there when it comes to Steve Yzerman. He will let Yzerman do whatever he wants until Yzerman decides he's done with the Red Wings.
Well, to piggyback off of that, I get what you're saying about, like, if the Red Wings have 93 points and don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be calling for Steve Yzerman's head or anything. I'll be disappointed, but that'll probably mean that you see more of a blueprint. That'll probably mean they made some moves. Maybe Marco Kasper took a big leap. Other things, of course. But if the Red Wings have a point regression this year, though, I will call for Steve Yzerman to be fired.
I don't think they'll.
I don't think it's going to happen, but that's why I'm so bullish on it better not happen.
Y'all better listen to Flannel.
It better
It
not.
cannot happen, or else you will get the wrath of Flannel Sam.
Listen, Patrick Ofiara says no. It will be effed if we don't make the playoffs. Ed Catellia says, when I see Larkin playing second line center, I will feel better about the Red Wings
think
as
that's
a
gonna happen.
team.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Never gonna happen.
You can't hold on to those expectations. And I get what you're saying. In a perfect setup, Dylan Larkin's your 2C, but
I promise you, Dylan Larkin's good enough to be a 1C on a championship level team. I'm seriously, like, I know everyone loves to bring that point up, but like, if you look at teams that are in the playoffs, have won playoff series, and you're telling me that JT Miller is that much better than Dylan Larkin? Yeah. I personally don't subscribe to that theory. I think there's so many, like, you could look around the league, and yeah, there are centers that are better than him. Nick Suzuki is better than him. Barkov is better than him. But at the end of the day, he is still probably a top 15 center in the NHL. At that point, if you have good enough wingers around him, it shouldn't matter. And that's where I kind of get off the highway with these people. Like,
how much does having, this is somebody who, casual hockey, or watcher, how much does having that gritty defense, having those tough players, having that, what you guys are hoping the Red Wings upgrade this offseason, how much does that help a guy like Dylan Larkin, who sometimes, I believe, gets a little bit more physical play against him than probably warranted without it really being checked?
Literally a ton. And that's where you need to see Edvinsson grow a little more in the physicality department. You need to bring in some more. But also, Dylan Larkin is playing a role that he is not suited for. He's another one of those guys that needs help on his line. He's been playing with a third liner on the first line with him and Raymond. And I think once they have a legitimate first liner with them, you will start to see that consistency. You'll see Dylan Larkin playing some of the best hockey of his career because he's best as a two-way center. He's not at his best when he's scoring goals. He's not at his best when he's carrying the offense. He's not at his best when he's carrying the defense. He's at his best when he's doing both, and he is playing like a true center. And that's where I want to see him get to this offseason. That's why I'm so adamant about bringing in a guy like Brian Rust, which obviously that's not the most appealing option that I would want on the other wing across from those two, but that's a guy who could put up 30 goals and who can play physical and can help Dylan Larkin be that defensive center that he is and help Lucas Raymond be the elite facilitator that he is and help both of them grow in their own roles. So that's why I'm so adamant about them adding a top six forward, because of the fact you're seeing guys playing above roles that they should be playing, and that has been the biggest issue with the Red Wings for the past 3 years. Guys are doing stuff that they shouldn't be asked to do. They should be asked to be doing less, but they're asked to do more, and that's why you see so many guys are like, wow, they're really not playing well. And it's because they're just not in the right role, and it's that simple.
Sound like the Pistons last year.
Oh, but
Or 2 years ago, not
before
last year.
I get to what I was going to say, because Justin, I think you had some great points. Chase, do we have anyone on the line as of right now?
Currently, no.
All right,
Hey.
all right. So people
Yeah.
aren't interested.
And I do
in,
have an interesting comment from
Pistons.
Big Con after you.
You know what? Give me Big Con really quick.
This one is interesting. Big Con 51. He says, I have more confidence in the Red Wings making the playoffs than the Pistons as we sit today.
Couldn't disagree.
Couldn't
more.
disagree more.
I couldn't disagree more.
That's crazy.
And that's look at the conferences. That's all I'll say to that. I think if the Pistons don't make another move, they're probably still in the playoffs. I mean, you could argue they've been passed up for now by the Magic and the Hawks, but there's also the factor of the Pacers not having Halliburton, the Bucks. What are they going to do? The Celtics, even though I think they're still going to be a top 3 team, not having Jason Tatum. Big Con, you're way off with this one, with all due respect.
And you know where some of these things, they matter to a great degree, because when you look at the players who are missing from the season, do you know what else? It's not just that these guys wear the number 0. These guys are killers in the clutch. These guys have been the guys that put away the Pistons. They've played these teams tough, and then they just can't get it done against Tatum and his in-game heroics, or Tyrese Halliburton freaking dancing all over LCA. I need to burn that image out of my head. Get well soon. I hope these guys get well.
Get well soon, yes.
Dame Lillard, we already understand what he brings to the Bucks and to any team he's on as it relates to end of game. So now you have a situation where going into some of these games, Cade Cunningham might be your best player in those games now. You have an opportunity, if you can play them tough, to be able to make something happen down the stretch. This is going to be very pivotal what they continue to build around Cade, because it seems very, very similar to the conversation that you have with Dylan Larkin. And I'm hoping that the Pistons put enough around Cade for them to formidably be a top 6 team and change maybe the narrative in Big Con 51's mind just a little bit.
Well, I was going to ask Justin this, because you mentioned a name. Could Dylan Larkin, with a better roster around him, become, and I think he already is to some extent, could he have an Alexander Barkov ceiling, or am I outside of my mind?
No, he does not have a Barkov ceiling.
Okay,
he's
okay.
not as good enough. He's not good enough defensively
That's
to
fair.
be a, because Barkov is an elite defender, and he's also has the size and the mobility. I mean, he's kind of just like a freak when it comes to defensive center isms. He's the best defensive center in the league by far, honestly.
Because
it's a big margin.
Because they both play the PK, but on a better team, Dylan Larkin probably wouldn't play the PK. I just thought I would throw that out there. But
he should be playing more like Barkov versus playing how he plays now. He should be playing in more of that type of style of game. He won't play it as an elite level as Barkov, but he should be able to play that type of role at a very high clip, not necessarily at an elite level, but at a very high level.
Sure. And one more thing, because you mentioned Brian Rust as well. Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings, and I've mentioned it before, that I think a Brian Rust, Keandre Miller combo to end the offseason would be really good for the Red Wings. Maybe not what everybody wanted or their fever dreams, but really good, maybe underrated signings. I really think that if Steve Yzerman gets that done, and getting both done is far from a certainty. It's probably far-fetched. If you were able to get Keandre Miller done and Brian Rust done, as in trade for Rust, probably trade for a Keandre Miller, I think those would be the Gleyber Torres and Tommy Kahnle acquisitions, Red Wings style.
That's fair.
A little under the radar, but man, what they could bring to this team, to this Red Wings team, is so freaking valuable that you almost can't quantify that in just pure numbers and AAV. We're talking about a two-way defenseman on this defense, on this PK. You're talking about a two-way wing on this, where it was basically Larkin, Raymond, and then a collection of whoever as of the opposite. You bring in Brian Rust, a man who's had about 3 or 4 point-per-game seasons or approximate point-per-game seasons, plays the PK. Those would be some really nice Moneyball type signings. And you know how I feel. I have a fetish for Moneyball. I'll admit it. Obviously, I would want
like porn to him.
Higher level moves. I was pushing the Marner stuff for a while, and my goodness, he got $12 million a year with Vegas. kill me now. I've been pushing the Ekblad stuff. He got $6 million a year as a re-sign, but Rust and Keandre Miller would make me very happy.
We're too busy signing Jonathan Berger into 1.8
Johnny Burgers.
AAVs, dude. Get him out of here, please. I don't know why we re-signed him. My guy literally had 20 points last year in 75 games. It was minus 15. Oh, my God, that guy is so bad. He's not even big. He's not physical. He literally does nothing at a high clip, and it's just why did we waste our cap on him? Seriously. And that's honestly here. I'm going to go on another one of my big issues is because we got guys in our system like Michael Nygaard who comes into camp at 205, gaining 15 pounds of muscle since the end of the offseason, who had one of the best playoffs on the entire Grand Rapids Griffins, but he'll probably start the year again in Grand Rapids because why not? He needs some more time to adjust to the European hockey, even though he's obviously already adjusted. He's already absolutely massive, and a guy who, at least on the Red Wings' third or fourth line, would probably bring some value. But no, we'll probably stick him in GR. We'll probably stick ASP in GR too. Put all the prospects in GR because none of them are ready. None of them deserve to try and, test the waters at the NHL level. Might as well just keep rolling out Johnny Burgers and, William Lagerson and Sherrod and Hall as our decor, woo!
Yeah!
You sound so excited, Justin.
Shout out Howard Dean. But Justin, that was from the heart. I know that you've been harboring that for a while. And do you feel better
I do feel better because I swear, I'm going to be. I don't care if ASP is ready or not. I'm going to be upset if he's in the AHL again. You see all these offensive defensemen come into the NHL and just pick it up by storm. Lane Hudson comes in, guy's 5'10", weighs 160. He literally weighs as much as I do. Comes in and starts dominating the NHL offensively for the Canadians, and everyone's like, "Oh, Calder, get out of here."
Well, at least they had reason though. Habs fans had reason to be like Lane Hudson.
No,
Calder.
they do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was correct, but why can't Red Wings have one of those? But
man.
Justin, do you want to? I know we've got a free agent edition show today that we are doing, correct? Today and tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, can you remind the people of when they are happening?
Yes, we have free agency frenzy shows because we are assuming that there's going to be moves that are made today by the Red Wings. So we have one show today right after E&E. We're going to go live. It's going to be at about 4:05, 4:10, all the way up until right before heavyweights at 4:50. Then on tomorrow's Wednesday. On Wednesday, right after WU, about 10:10, we're going to come on live again. We're going to hopefully have another move to talk about by then. We're going to break that down, and then obviously our normal Woodward Wings episode, 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Hopefully there is multiple moves made by that point. But yeah, thank you guys for the support. We wouldn't be able to do stuff like this without you and have all these pop-up shows during NHL free agency, so we appreciate it a lot, and thank you so much, and please tap in.
Hey, and stay tapped, man. Shout out to Woodward Wings. I am planning a free agency kind of closeout show with Plotty and Anson too. That will be one that's in the evening, probably someday after Heavy's next week.
Very nice.
If we can get it done this week, we will. But I know holidays, we'll let people go home and have some fun. But I love what's going on right now. Please continue to support everything. And if anything does break for Pistons, definitely keep your eyes peeled to Woodward Pistons, and the best of that content will be clipped back over to Woodward Sports. And then stay tuned for basically an off-season recap show for Pistons soon, and stay plugged in with what Woodward Wings is doing, and Woodward Tigers too. I know whenever you want just some Tiger stuff, we do have Woodward Tigers active. They do release episodes every single Sunday. Broder, the former Tigers beat reporter, and Nick Koloff, the current Tigers beat reporter. So that's an awesome team, and you're getting the passion and the understanding and the study and the tutelage of a Nick Koloff with the expertise, and you know what, having played this game and even been teammates with guys that are currently within the Tigers organization. It's pretty awesome package there as it relates to Woodward Tigers and everything else we got going on. So thank you guys for making this possible. And you know what else was made possible? What's trending? Everyone's favorite. JV Smooth. You know what?
What's up?
We'll go to break and we'll come back, and then we'll let the people know what's up.
Yeah, Ben
definitely.
Johnson and Caesars.
Yep, Ben Johnson, Caesars, and White Claw Tour.
Absolutely. If you've got a crisis, let Ven point the way. Step 1, verify with details and photos. Step 2, engage your attorney. Step 3, notify your insurance provider. Get justice with VEN Johnson Law.
And you know what? You can always place some bets at Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code on screen. Use code word Woodward1000. Deposit up to $1,000. But all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. And you know what? If it doesn't hit, Caesars will throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. The Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Make some money tonight.
And calling all Tigers fans, that's all of you great people in this chat. Shout out to the Woo. Smash that like button if you haven't gotten the opportunity to. Join Spencer and Easy for our final stop on the tour, the White Claw Tigers Tour, this on Friday, July 11th, at Second Best Bar in Detroit. Be part of the fun. See our reactions live on Woodward Sports Network to one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. It's the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Vin Johnson Law.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
It's part beauty, part beast. It's for those who dare to be different, for those who want to stand out, and for those who are built for more. The all-new Ineos Grenadier combines strength and style for an unmatched driving experience. Sold exclusively at Feldman Ineos of Waterford.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Second Best Bar in Detroit for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw, Easttown, and Vin Johnson.
Oh, man, that's my bad. I have the massage chair. I'm too relaxed and I'm too recovered up right now from being in the massage chair. But you can check out Bloomfield Hills' largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest for top brands like Infinity and Osaki. It's located on the corner of Long Lake Road and Woodward. It's curated by Dr. Eric Duncan, the wellness doctor, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. And you can book your visit today at www.massagechairhouse.com. There's a QR code you can scan right above my head, or you can, I just said go and check them out right in Bloomfield Hills. So your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation, Massage Chair House. Check them out.
And Lou.
Go smoke some weed, you guys. Summer is heating up and Michigan is buzzing. You can drink your weed now. Each can of Buzzin' delivers 7.5 milligrams of real THC, wrapped in bubbles, crafted with real fruit juice, and no artificial sweeteners. Bold in flavor, low in calories, and 100% hangover free. All bubbles, no troubles. Perfect for poolside sips, bonfire nights, lake day chills. Available at any of Loom's 38 locations across Michigan. Use code WSN30 for 30% off your entire order, online or in store. You pay 16% in taxes for weed, so that's covering about half of that in that 30% off. Go to www.loom.com today.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right. Yeah, it ain't for us to say.
Yeah, it's not. It's not for us to
here.
discuss.
You know, hey, good news. What's trending, right?
Yes. What's true? What's trending is always some good news, or some bad news, however you want to look at it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
That man, JB Smooth, ain't nobody better than him. Let's rock.
JB Smooth with the new
Put
sponsor.
a crown on his head. Put a crown on his head.
For what's trending,
It's right
shout
in
out
front of
to
you.
Gold Crown right there, man. The crown is actually kind of small.
Hey, crown
so
that man.
what-
Crown that man for what's trending.
On yourself.
what is happening right now?
There we go. That's our guy,
Crown
JB.
camera for you.
The crown doesn't really fit on my head.
But
It's
you're
kind
gonna wear it either way.
it's kind of hard to do, but I will try
man,
my
JB
best.
Smooth.
I will try my best. Shout out to Gold Crown for sponsoring What's Trending with us here right now. And I got a couple videos for you guys. Kool-Aid, I got to know off rip, did you pull this move off back on the court?
Hey, let me see it.
Bow to King JB.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Stop on the dime behind the back. Oh, yes.
Oh, is that his ACL? Like, just like
I hope I'm all right.
So you good? No. Goodness. That's just dangerous.
Yeah, I ain't never got crossed like that.
that might be out for season.
Golly.
Does it end? Do we know if he's writhing on the ground in pain, or is he okay?
I don't know if he's okay. I'm pretty sure he finished the game, but still, like this does not look
Oh, he
good.
finished the game. Okay.
That is tough.
He like did the splits at his knees. It's like
It doesn't look great.
I'm out. I'm done.
You know,
Well-
those young limbs and joints probably a little more flexible.
I don't know why that looks like Darius Miles with the handle. I don't know why.
Darius
I'm just
Miles?
Like, it looked
That's
like
a name,
It
God.
looked like Darius Miles is coming down behind the back and he's about to just throw up the oop.
That's
Shout
a
out
name.
Darius
Shout
Miles.
out to Darius Miles.
I know. I have.
Childhood memories.
I know, right?
I
God.
thought, man, dog, they were electric. Running down, doing the antennas up and all of that, like he was electric.
I was a Darius Miles. Like, young Flannel Sam was a Darius Miles.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
was.
But then older Flannel realizes that he was kind of a draft bust. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, I like the high fly and stuff. Like we see the highlights, and then all of a sudden you're older, and you're like, oh, ugh.
yeah, you look at his numbers, you're like, oh,
okay, he's decent, but
yeah, he had some all right
some
years.
decent, yeah.
But with the Clippers and Cavs, he really didn't do
It
much.
tailed off. It was the potential, and then it just, yeah.
Oh my God! I
Shout out Darius.
went to his basketball reference page. One of his nicknames was the Punisher.
Really?
When did
You
he
can't
get that?
You can't be the Punisher and be Darius Miles.
Yeah.
with
When did
respect.
you get that nickname?
Jeez, he only played what, like 6 years in the league? 7 years? Man,
Yeah. Hey, with that crossover, I see somebody in the chat. Hey, this is Iverson, Kyrie, and Hardaway combine. and hey, you know what though? Shout out to Tim Hardaway Sr. He's a real one. He was on his podcast, and it was like a panel of people, and he was talking to some New York media, and he told them that they literally they got lucky. He don't believe that the Knicks are on the same level as the Pistons. Now, whether you believe that or not, shout out to you, Tim Hardaway Sr., for going out there standing on business. He was like, you took a referee for the young Knicks to beat my Pistons. It was like, let's go. I didn't know. I knew he was invested. I didn't know how much he was invested as it relates to stand up for the Pistons, because I know he definitely wants to cross over and beat up Tyrese Halliburton for whatever reason. But to know that he's still putting the cape on for the Pistons, that's pretty dope. And I wonder what that means for Junior, too.
oh, he doesn't like Tyrese Halliburton?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, nice.
Oh no. Oh no. Why?
Get
Why?
well soon, Tyrese. I want to see you on the court taking L's, not getting hurt.
Wow.
What you got for us, JB?
Just took a shot on him as well too. Get well soon,
Get well
Tyrese
soon. I said
Halliburton.
get well soon.
Get well soon.
Once again, Kool-Aid, I gotta ask you this too. Have you ever pulled this move where you know you gotta be somewhere, but you can't pass up a good hooping opportunity?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh. That's how that's done.
Yeah. You know,
I've lost 2 basketball rims not knowing, hey, how am I going to transfer this thing?
not knowing the
In
proper
my
way
life.
to place a basketball when
That
you're
actually looks
transporting
like my old basketball rim.
Win ball is
Did
life.
somebody else take it? Sheesh. You know what? JB, send me that video. I got it for science.
it. for science purposes.
Yeah.
For science purposes, I got you. No worries. And finally, the last video of what's trending, because you know what? It is the summertime. Everyone's out on the beach, enjoying their boats and everything like this. Just don't do this. Let the boat stop itself.
Not just anybody, help. You know, I need someone.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Help.
Oh, no. Oh no.
Stop!
No! Why?
When I was younger, so much younger than
I've been on boats. I don't own a boat. Justin,
never needed.
what the heck is he thinking, bro?
My man tried to stop the boat.
Now these days are gone.
No.
Door right there. There's a door right there to their pontoon. Just open the door.
Dad, this is crazy, bro.
Or try to give it a jump at least. I don't know. That was poor effort.
And he's gone.
But on the good note is he definitely didn't get hurt, because if you fall right there, like there's literally nothing he could have hit. So I mean, he definitely didn't get hurt by that, unless he hit. Yeah, he definitely hurt himself with the concrete, but not in the boat.
In between the boat and the dock.
I can only speak for the boat and the water. Concrete. He might have got hurt by the concrete.
I remember when I went. Yeah, oh no, he definitely hit the concrete.
Oh no, he definitely got hurt. Yeah, he definitely got hurt there.
Freddie felt 3-3. Hobie about to get a Mortal Kombat fatality. You say no, though. You say he'll be fine, but it certainly looks like
I think he's fine. Seriously.
Get over here.
Oh my God.
I don't think he's fine, but once again, that's not for me to decide. And once again, shout out to Gold Crown for sponsoring What's Trending with JB. But back to you guys. That's it for What's Trending.
Hey, shout out to JB Smooth and the consistency. And honestly, just the work that you put in, not just for What's Trending, but all of Woodward Sports, man. You definitely, you truly deserve more. And I'm hoping that as we continue on, that happens for you, brother. But anybody we got to say what up, though, to before we try and get at maybe one or two mailbag questions?
Nope, just mailbag.
Hey, let's rock now. Big Con 51, I see you. He says, mailbag, don't take what I said as hating. I just think the Pistons potentially losing 300 threes is going to be a big, big loss. Who takes that mantle? Nobody expected Beasley to do what he did last year. And you know what? Big Con, I do level with you there. That was a part of the conversation we had yesterday. And I know it's going to be, we had a little bit on E, and we're probably going to talk about it again today, is that this man took like 700 threes. He made over 300 threes. He took over 1,000 shots in general. Like even in 2-point field goals, he still took more than some of those other replacements. And it's not just how many, it's how many he's able to make in the span of time that he's on the court. And that's the thing. He's a threat. Somebody who the defense has to stick to. So if he's playing with Cade, you get this 50-50. Do we say with Cade? Do we say with Beasley? With the other people, you will see a collapse on to Cade, and those other guys are going to have to hit those 3-point shots. This is what it boils down to. And at the very least, now we do see the Pistons building more depth to that than in the past when they would spin their wheels trying to find shooters to put around Cade. At the very least, we know they have some above, league average outside shooters that they're trying to place around them. And obviously, the other half of this trade will dictate that. I like Caris LeVert as a first. Obviously, we know Tobias Harris has some chops behind the arc, but now it's going to be what they do from here to continue to replace it. Because I told you, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 players to replace the effectiveness or the impact that Beasley had.
And that's where I don't think you're going to get a player who did in the regular season what Malik Beasley did. But what you can do, and unfortunately the options are limited, but I had mentioned, guys, you could get a guy who maybe won't give you 300 threes, but will provide you more in terms of an all-around game. Like, let's just say Caris LeVert. And I get it. Caris LeVert won't shoot nearly the volume of movement threes or threes in general. He won't make them at as high of a clip, but he does other things. If you talk about somebody like even Duncan Robinson, who's available, and don't get me wrong, Duncan Robinson, I don't think he's going to give you 300 threes, but what he also has done is be a proven playoff performer. And those aren't the only ones, and I get that the pickings are a little bit slim, and I wasn't ever trying to act like Malik Beasley didn't have a fantastic regular season. I just think you can't blame the Pistons for being like, you have this gambling thing over your head. You have a history, and this is completely fair, of knucklehead noise. And I think we akumbaya'd on that.
That is
knucklehead
fair.
Noise.
Yep.
Some of it might be unfair. Some of it is very fair, by the way, especially.
Same thing with J-Mo. And we asked appropriately, J-Mo, you got to turn down that noise no matter whose fault it is. And there are ways to keep yourself in the bubble. And that's what I believe Malik Beasley has to do. When you see him yesterday in the gym, you know what? That to me, that's what you want to see. Because we know, and I don't care what people are doing in their personal lives, But in times like this, you would hope that some people have levity of the situation, some type of gravity of the situation, like some control of it. And so do you want to see him posting maybe with streamers, or do you want to see him, I'm in the gym, focused on what's next? And that, to me, is what I loved about him posting on socials, that he's in the gym and he's working and he doesn't look too bothered. Ryan's reaction, kind of piggybacking on the sent in a $4.99 super chat, I want to know who replaces Schroeder, not Beasley.
I think Caris LeVert,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, as like that bench, as like the leader and the point guard of the bench unit who can also play minutes off of Cade effectively.
Yep.
Like I said, the more this Caris LeVert free agent acquisition ages with me, the more that I like it, or at the very least am accepting of what their vision is with him.
And Freddie felt more Pistons questions, man, because obviously it is the season is ripe for that right now, as they're looking to make some additions to this team to be able to improve over last year. Freddie felt through in 3 mailbag. Who on the Pistons roster makes the biggest leap this season and why? And I want to add on to that, who do you think it's going to be, but who does it need to be?
Who does it need to be? Oh, my goodness. You know what? I will say who I think it is, and I think who it needs to be is too close for me to really call. I think it's Asar Thompson.
Yeah.
I think Asar Thompson by the end of next season is, I'll go at worst second team all defense, maybe a sneaky first team all defense candidate. Full off season, I think his shot will improve a little bit, although I don't think he's going to ever be a great 3-point shooter. And I think he's going to get more opportunities both on ball and off ball to do what he does best. He can run the offense when he needs to. He can run transition very effectively. He can cut and finish an offensive rebound. I think Asar Thompson takes a big leap.
Yeah, and I know that there's one when you talk about who's replacing Schroeder. Whoa. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has just agreed to a 4-year, $285 million supermax contract with the Thunder. So shout out to this season, just continues to get better for him.
And he deserves it.
Yeah.
Finals MVP,
That's
regular
via
season
Shams,
MVP.
by the way.
Thunder won the title. Give him whatever he wants. He's earned it.
Yeah, and Marcus Sasser, I don't want to necessarily disrespect him either. I thought he took some necessary strides at the end of last season that you want to see your rookie backup point guard or combo guard continue in that trend, because they got to make a decision on Marcus Sasser too next year. It's not just Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey, it's also Sass, who did step up and play well. And A-Diz41 says he's supposed to be at the gym. He's a professional basketball player. It's his job, Beasley. The thing is, and I remember when T. Foss and Rob Beard told me, hey, little known secret, as you're getting a little bit closer to these players and to their situation behind the cameras, a lot of these people actually don't put in the extra work. A lot of these people go into the offseason and don't become better. That's the thing. So I think it's more positive that we see Beasley posting, I'm in the gym, rather than being aloof to the situation and to the noise that's surrounding him right now. I would rather see him making that a point of emphasis, because we talked about it. The thing that I keep seeing people talk about when you just do the research and kind of study and see what people say from even years past and Reddit and such, people believe that man is tired by the time the playoffs comes along. But that to me is how you train in the offseason, your stamina and your legs to get better. And so I want to see him in the gym, and I'm hoping if he has any future with the Pistons, that it's an improved Beasley.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, got to do what you got to do. Got to you have to, if you're Malik Beasley, you got to hope that you're innocent, and you've got to change your image a bit. Like I said, the knucklehead noise is real.
Yeah.
The fact that he's being investigated for gambling, had a high-profile affair, and did some jail time, that's not normal for NBA players. Fair or unfair, Malik Beasley's got to change his image.
Hey, and
hope he's innocent and then change his image, because if you're not, if you're guilty, you're in a world of hurt, bud.
And one more, Justy Adams mailbag. How sad is this? Stevie Y had 2 years ahead of any other GM, still hasn't gotten better or even in the playoffs. Pistons and Tigers both had 2 GMs in that time period also.
Hockey's a longer rebuild, but at the same time, if you're impatient, please be impatient. I can't. What am I going to do? Get mad at you for demanding more? Absolutely not.
Anything from you, Justin?
Nope.
you were spicy today.
Just head shake of disappointment.
But hey, let's break this thing down. Is that a show?
Yes.
Let's go. And chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. Thank you for smashing that like button and getting us over that first like goal. And if you didn't get the opportunity to contribute to it, definitely hit that like button. Shout out to that dude, Justin. We had a couple of interns in too. I don't see them right now, but in the sound booth we got Cavassier Chase. What up, though?
What? Sorry, you looked behind me. I was confused.
Oh, no, I was saying, what up to Cavassier Chase?
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Check out Fast and Loose later. Episode 17 drops. Shout out Matt Kenseth, my favorite driver. But yeah, check out. If you haven't watched No Chill, I Still Hate You, and if you have, you're cool, man. Thanks, but you guys should go check out No Chill with JB Smooth. He's the king.
Hey, what up, though? JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. Hey, now our king, huh? Shout out to the Gold Crown sponsored man himself. What up, though, brother?
Hey, shout out to Gold Crown once again sponsoring What's Trending. Appreciate that. Check out Fast and Loose, episode 17 out right now. Very special episode for me and Chase. And No Chill as well too is out for your viewing pleasure. Also, Woodward Ringside, a recap of Night of Champions. Myself and KG got together last night. Sorry the episode was a little choppy, cutting up our big main episode, but at least we put something out there for you guys to digest of this Night of Champions, and hopefully have another episode for you this upcoming weekend. But like I said, go check out No Chill and Fast and Loose.
And we got the vet of the squad, vet of the network, all sports, no one lover. That is Flannel Sam. What up, though, brother?
Hey, looking for a more fireworks from the Pistons and Red Wings, and looking for a nice Game 1 victory in the series at the Washington Nationals. Jack Flaherty, get yourself on track.
Hey, you know what? I do want to see Flaherty be able to come through. But you know what, people? Thank you guys for supporting us. It's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. And we appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you guys have a better day than this show. I'm hoping this show was good for you all, and that we come back next year and we knock it out the park again. And you know what? I was looking behind you, my fault earlier, because I didn't know if there was any interns, and intern Haley actually peeked her head out from behind you. But and there's intern Ryan. So shout out to intern Ryan and intern Haley, put in the work. So shout out to you guys. Have a great day, man. Let's rock.